We'd love for you to join us this morning at 6 o'clock a.m. And we're going to do an interview. We're going to talk about Resurrection Sandtown Project. God bless you.
Before we speak with Mark, Baltimore activist Pastor Rodney Hudson from Ames United Methodist Church will explain to us his plans to change Baltimore City. Pastor Hudson, welcome and good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
We're doing well. I hope you're doing well as well.
I am. This is a wonderful day. It seems like it's going to be nice and warm, but it's a day that we have a chance to do something new and different and transformative.
Right, because you're what one would describe as an activist pastor. You see problems and you try to solve them. And you started out with Sandtown area of Baltimore. Tell us how this project came to be.
Well, it came to be, I would have to say years and years ago, a fellow by the name of Mr. Bill Adams, who passed away, gave me a big briefcase full of ideas of what he wanted to see in the community. And we started working on that. Mr. Adams passed away at nearly 100 years old. And we started working on that. We got in touch with people in our community. We saw what was going on with the crime and violence. And from there, after the Freddie Gray, a group of us, Little Flowers Early Development Center, and Dr. Cecil Gray and Bishop Latrell Miller Eastonley and others got together. We had a conversation about some plans that we wanted to do to impact our community. Violence was very high. And that's the basic of how we got started.
Well, that's good to hear. But did Freddie Gray's death and what happened after Freddie Gray have an impact on the way that you decided to go?
It had a huge impact. Freddie Gray used to sell his products right across the street from our church. And we've had many conversations with Freddie Gray. And I'd like to say that he did move on to another area, but his death and the way in which he died impacted our community so much until we couldn't stand by and watch other young men and women and watch a community in distress continue to go down that same road. Police brutality was very high, and we were angry and wanted to see change. And that sparked the change that we wanted to see. We became the change that we wanted to see.
And there are some problems in Baltimore, a lot of problems in Baltimore. People always talk about the problems, but not much about the solutions. Can you help? You're regarded as a change agent because you see the problems and you're trying to solve them. The people, I know you've been, have your critics as well. People criticize you, even though they're not trying to solve the problem, but they're trying to hit at you because you come up with solutions. And that's what we like on the show, solutions, because we don't know what our problems are. Our problems are not just systemic to Baltimore City, but just about any urban center, not just in the United States, but as we have an audience, international audience, by the way. People listen to you in London and on the continent, in the islands, and they tell me, they email me, text me, listen, we have the same problems. Gentrification, crime, unemployment, we have all the same problems. So I just wanted to put that out there because sometimes people think because you live in a particular area, city, the issues are just germane to your area. It's not. So what are the major problems that you see in Baltimore? Because I know you also ran for office at one time. What are the major problems you see in Baltimore? How do you think we can affect change?
Yes, because of systemic racism that happened years and years and that put into the mindset of African Americans a sense of hopelessness that permeated and still continues today. Now we live in a society that's dominated by classism. When we talk about classism, we're talking about people who are disregarded and devalued simply because of their zip code and who feel no hope. If you really want to know the true issue, if you want to know the opiate crisis on steroids, it's right here in Baltimore. Breakdown of family structure, breakdown of community. And so we see that those challenges, and we believe that the solution is to gather people together and to make change one person at a time. It's not about I, but it's about we. How can we make change for our community? How can we encourage and empower our people to help themselves?
For people who don't live in Baltimore or Maryland, many of them, what they know about Baltimore is by the movie The Wire. Just kind of like what happened in Compton. where people didn't know much about Compton, but they heard what NWA was putting out all the time. So Compton became the headquarters for gangster rap. How much of that entertainment, that movie series, The Wire, do you think has hurt the reputation of Baltimore?
I believe that it has given a glimpse of reality of Baltimore. And that reality, some of that is true of what we see, and it has hurt and damaged the reputation of Baltimore. And I like to say that everything that you see on The Wire does not reveal the good that is in Baltimore. We have public school teachers, we have public officials, we have entertainers. Tank Davis grew up right around the corner from our church and used to come to our center where he was part of our after school program. And he became someone who raised himself out because what we see on The Wire, although it is gritty, it is also the stuff that makes us great. And so we want those who watch shows like The Wire and We Own This City to know that not everybody in Baltimore is not on drugs. Not everybody in Baltimore is looking for ways to scheme and to cheat. We have some great police officers. We have some great citizens who are looking to make a change in their community, just like they're trying to make changes in LA and Indianapolis and Chicago.
Right, and your response is exactly what we got from NWA when we interviewed them about the situation in Compton. People in Compton were very upset. But exactly, they say they were reflecting what was going on in the city, and that's what you're basically saying that the series does. It reflects, well, not all of it, part of what's going on in the city. Correct?
That's absolutely right. And when you look at these series, you have to know that it's just like our rap music. It reflects what people are feeling at that time. If you really want to know the story of a community, listen to our rappers, listen to our songsters, look at our artists. If you really want to know, too often our churches have become relegated and archaic and have taken a back seat while the community has fallen through the cracks. The true prophets are some of the true prophets are on the street corners. And right now we've got to reclaim our communities by becoming prophetic in our voices and crying out that yeah, Black Lives Matter, but we got to make Black Lives Matter to us as well.
So true. If you just joined us, folks, it's 8 minutes after 6, around 10:10 WOLD in Baltimore City and in the DMV on 95.9 and 1450 WOL. Thank you for waking up with us this morning. Our guest is he's an activist pastor in Baltimore City. His name is Rodney Hudson. He also ran for office. And he thinks he's got some solutions to the problems in Baltimore. As I mentioned earlier, problems in Baltimore are not just for Baltimore alone. You know, there are any major urban centers across this planet have the same issues. Our young people, Pastor Hudson, joblessness. Do you think with an influx of jobs that this would help mitigate some of the problems in Baltimore?
I believe we're taking a three-pronged approach to addressing some of the challenges. And we recognize that we don't have the answers to all of the challenges in Baltimore. We want to deal with employment. On Pennsylvania Avenue, we've been given land by the Cook family. The Cook family gave us 3 warehouses, land on prime real estate of Pennsylvania Avenue. Pennsylvania Avenue was the original Black Wall Street. We've been given over 250
hold that
feet.
thought right there. We got to take a quick break.
Yes.
Folks, if you can join us and get in on this conversation, you have some solutions to help our inner cities and especially our young people. Reach out to us. 800-450-7876 will get you in. We'll see calls next on 1010 WOLD 95.9 and 1450 WOL for information.
Temperature 17 degrees in Baltimore, 72 degrees in the nation's capital. There's a chance of rain. Good morning, traffic sponsored by New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism. On the outer loop of the Beltway, like the moderate volume so far, as you leave New Carrollton and Greenbelt, headed past 95 and over towards Silver Spring. Slowest traffic is going to be right near Georgia Avenue. Coming down from Laurel on I-95, Route 1 or the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, you should find all of your lanes open. Inside the Beltway, Parkway traffic a little sluggish down towards Riverdale and then better into Northeast. 50 John Hanson Highway moves well from Bowie towards Landover Hills and Chevrolet. New York Avenue, signal delays at Bladensburg Road. Beyond there, the flash at the circle at West Virginia and Montana Avenues. A red flashing light means a stop sign. Not everybody driving through that intersection right now seems to know that. Southbound on Kenilworth Avenue, expect delays from Burroughs Avenue down past East Capitol Street. Boost your mood in New Jersey. Savor sea breezes, the call of adventure, or drift into the blue. Find it all at visitnj.org. I'm Robert Workman for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where information is power.
Ever heard that grass is always greener on the other side? If you're in a dead-end job, you want greener grass. Well, My Computer Career can help. Start a new life as an IT pro in months, not years. My Computer Career offers lifetime career services to help you find jobs with companies begging for IT pros. And financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Take the free career evaluation and schedule a campus tour today. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is Reality Radio. I'm Kathy Hughes, asking you to join me in a moment of prayer. Oh, dear God, creator of all, we come to you in dire distress and anguish. We petition you, Lord, for forgiveness of our apathy, our inertia, and our total indifference to the plague of murder that is permeating in our lives. We're killing our children, our elders, and ourselves with limited remorse or disdain for our actions and with no prohibition against its reoccurrence. We are accepting murder and genocide as everyday activities, and we're ignoring God's commandment of thou shalt not kill. We know that a commandment is a divine order, an edict, a law governing our behavior that comes directly from our Creator. So today, dear God, we seek forgiveness for our sin of allowing it to escalate and not doing what is required of us to provide protection from those who would do us harm. We seek your mercy and intervention for our collective salvation, and we pray for the strength and the courage to do that which we know is required of us as we praise your holy name now and forevermore. Hallelujah and amen. This is Reality Radio with Kathy Hughes. What's your reality? What's your reality? What's your reality?
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. We're live here on 1010 WOLB and also 95.9 and 1450 WOL. Our guest is activist pastor, Mr. Rodney Hudson. He's in Baltimore City. And Pastor Hudson, my friends have told me that you're live on Zoom. So can you tell folks if they want to look at you and see what live what's going on, how can they do it?
Yeah, if you would like to watch and listen,
Right here, the pastor.
you can simply go right to your internet, and you can come onto Ames Memorial or Metropolitan website or my own personal website. Can you hear me? Yes, if you're live and you want to watch us on Zoom, it's very simple to do. You can just come right there to Ames Memorial or my personal website, Rodney Hudson, and watch us, or you can come right in and go to WOLDCNEWS.com and watch us that way too. So we're grateful for the opportunity to be a part of the program.
All right, thank you. And hopefully you're not listening to the audio because there's some sort of a delay. So because we want you to respond on time here.
No, I'm not. No, I had you on mute.
Oh, you had us on mute. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you, Pastor. I'll let you finish your thought. We interrupt you before we went for the last break.
Yes, I was saying that we were given 250 feet on Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're grateful for the Cook family who gave us that. This is a white family who saw the need to impact Baltimore City, Sandtown area. And we're grateful for the work of our church conference, the Baltimore Washington Conference, who gave us initial grant of $400,000 to buy properties. We're thankful for the churches that are part of the United Methodist Church. A gentleman by the name of Van Beal, who worked tirelessly to help bring connections together. We were just cutting grass. and try to keep the area clean. And the family recognized that. So we were talking about our approach, and we want to impact the economy by on this property having a place where entrepreneurs can have their businesses on Pennsylvania Avenue. We want to impact it by building a community center. We've been in discussions with the Boys and Girls Club, a Little Flowers Early Learning Childhood Development Center, and we're looking at the opportunity of putting a boys club and a early learning childhood development center right in this space. And then senior housing, an opportunity to have senior housing for our seniors so that we can have a multi-generational approach. We've been doing the Band-Aids by giving out food for many, many years, but now this is the opportunity to really impact our community.
So what's been the response? You've laid out your plans, you've got the land, and you've told the residents of Baltimore City, especially in Sandtown area, what is the response? Are they opening up their arms, or are you getting some pushback?
Well, it's been a very positive response. Our political figures have been very supportive of the process. They have been guiding us along. Senator Antonio Hayes, and we're grateful for Peter Francho, who had been giving us just all kinds of help. All of our political leaders have been on board. Our community organizations, they have been positive, receptive. Our community itself, because we are in the community, we're doing the work in the community, we live in the community, they've been very supportive, and they've been telling us what they would like to see. And that's what we want to do. We want to do and give the community what it needs. You know, the problem is that oftentimes when you go to the doctor and you want to figure out, well, what's wrong with the patient, the doctors, the first thing they do is ask the patient what's wrong. And that's what we need to do in our community. We need to ask the community what's wrong. How can we help you? And that's the approach that we're taking.
And so what has been the response? You've made the pledge and asked the community that, what is the problem? What are the issues? What are they telling you?
We need jobs. We need opportunities. We need community centers. We need resources. That's what they're telling us. We need better places to live. We need the drug dealers to move. And what we're learning is that drug dealers will move when they respect the people who are doing the work. If you're only making the place comfortable and not have any association and relationship with the drug dealers, there will be no respect. But there's a way that you can gain respect from the drug dealers by just building relationships, and sooner or later they will move. And the community has been saying they want the drugs out the community. They want jobs. They want opportunities for their youth. We want the same thing that people in other communities have. We would like to have a McDonald's. We would like to have grocery stores. We want more than just pop-up corner stores. We want more than just mom and pop chicken stores. We want the same things that every other community has, and we want our people to have ownership of that.
All right, good deal. Now let's talk about the drug dealers a little, because we're not endorsing drug dealing. But could it be, if that's the only way out, many of them see, to earn money just by selling illicit drugs?
Let me tell you, some of the smartest and most ingenuitive people that I've met have been the fellas on the corners. And oftentimes, and I'm not endorsing drug dealing, and I've had my run-ins with them, and believe me, it has been an uphill battle.
We're going to take another short break, and we'll get into that, because this is an issue not just in Baltimore City, but across the country and all,
yes.
All our urban centers across the globe, as a matter of fact. We've got to take a short break. We'll take your phone calls next, right here on
yes.
1010 WOLB 95.9 and 1450 WOL at 19 minutes after 6, where information is power.
And I'm very happy to report that our strategy of Buy Black Tuesdays is beginning to work for the Black businesses in our radio markets. Thank you to each and every one of you who's already participated, and each week making a conscious effort to community. Now that you are doing conscious spending, how about encouraging your family and friends to join us? Because this can really work if we all participate. The recommended businesses for this week are Kingdom Ventures LLC, KingdomVentures.com, Yard Card on the Green, YardCardOnTheGreen.com, TaxBiz USA, TaxBizUSA.com. Thank you.
Do you need emergency cash up to $2,500? Trust the name you know. WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com can help you get up to $2,500 whenever you need it. WeFixMoney.com is there to help you get the emergency cash you need. If you're looking for cash for credit card bills, car repairs, child care, travel, or any other reason, go to WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com has been helping customers for over 13 years and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. It's free to use, available 24/7, and you are never required to accept any loan offered. Some lenders even offer same-day funding. Fill out the form in the morning, and you can get cash that afternoon. So if you or a loved one needs emergency cash up to $2,500, go to WeFixMoney.com today. WeFixMoney.com respects your privacy and maintains the highest standards for a safe and secure experience. If you need up to $2,500, go to WeFixMoney.com. Trust the name you know, WeFixMoney.com.
These are serious times. Babies gunned down in our schools and on our streets. Reproductive rights struck down in our courts. Family budgets in a tailspin. And a political system that's doing nothing. Well, I will. I'm Donna Edwards, and the fact is, Prince George's County doesn't get its fair share from Washington. I'll fix that, putting my experience and seniority in Congress to work for you. I'm Donna Edwards, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donna Edwards for Congress.
Do you want to create a legacy for your family and develop generational wealth? Make sure you join Step Sells the DMV for the Real Estate Report, a weekly show featuring informative segments and conversations with real estate and finance industry leaders and experts. If that sounds appealing, then this show is for you. Tune in every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. for the Real Estate Report. Remember, join Step Sells the DMV every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. for the Real Estate Report, empowering listeners to create legacy and generational wealth.
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
And good morning and welcome back, folks. You're listening to us on 1010 WOLB in the Baltimore area, and also 95.9 and 1450 WOL in the DMV. And those of you who make that commute back and forth to those cities, you download the app before you leave, and so you won't have any interruptions. You can listen all the way back from Baltimore to DC or vice versa. Our guest is Dr. I almost say doctor. He's almost acting as a doctor. He's a pastor. He's an activist pastor in Baltimore City. His name is Rodney Hudson. And Pastor Hudson, I'm gonna let you finish your thought.
We were talking about the drug dealers and the role that we can influence and impact and inspire change in our communities by inviting the drug dealers to look for different solutions with their lives. And it starts with just having a relationship. It starts with not being judgmental, but finding avenues to build bridges. Because the truth of the matter, when people don't have food, when people don't have money to take care of their families, it's by any means necessary for survival. And that's what's happened in our communities. The drug dealers are dealing because they want to survive. And when we have conditions in our communities where we are not providing jobs and where the family structure has been totally broken down and decimated, the streets become family. But we've got to learn how to talk to the streets and show them a different way that family can mean something different than what they've used to.
Right, and you mentioned jobs, Pastor Hudson, and we know that nationwide they say jobs are begging. If you don't have a job, it's because you don't want a job. There's so many of our people are unemployed or unemployable. So that begs the question: how much is education an issue? How much do we need to revamp the curriculum in our public school systems?
You know, I've been an educator both in Prince George's County And, you know, one thing I can tell you as a pastor and as an educator, former educator myself, is that when we don't start at the earliest levels, the earliest ages, we lose our children immediately. When we put teachers in the school system who are not concerned and not compassionate, we lose our children. When we have administrators who are more concerned about going to the next level in their careers than they are about reaching the children where they are, then we have a problem in our school systems and in education. And what has happened is that education has become so political until we have just shown our children hopelessness through how we educate them. The curriculum doesn't even meet their needs. The curriculum that we're teaching doesn't speak to where they are, or even taking into account that some of them can't even read or write at third and fourth grade. And so education has to change and has to be a dynamic shift. And at the same time, we can't just blame the education system, but we got to blame families. We got to blame our parents who are allowing their children to spend all day on video games rather than teaching them and disciplining them. We've got to blame the community for not embracing. Education plays a vital role. So it's community. So it's church. We've got to come together as a multifaceted tool to reach our children and bring change in our communities.
Right. You know, the blame game goes around. Everybody's blaming each other for the problems, not just Baltimore City, but just most of all the urban centers where our people live. I got to ask this question, though, because I'm watching you on your Zoom as well. You got on a blue dashiki. And if you speak to the Pan-Africanists will tell us that our people need to know themselves. Because if we know ourselves, we won't do any harm or damage to each other. We won't sell drugs to it. We won't do anything that's detrimental to each other. We won't harm each other. We won't be fighting each other because we believe it's unity as the basis of Pan-Africanism. Do you think the Pan-Africanists should have a point here? Could that be one of the solutions to the problem?
Absolutely. When we talk about mindfulness, when we talk about character education, the first place is to know who you really are. And when in our education system, for many years, teaching African heritage, teaching African studies have been just pushed to the sideline. But when children know that they come from kings and princes, when children know that they were the architects of civilizations way before Europeans understood mathematics, Africans were doing it long before. And it doesn't mean that we're better. It just means that maybe we have something to offer. Get to know us, and children, get to know yourselves. You are somebody. Believe that you are somebody. Take root. In African studies, everything is sacred. There is no division between the secular and the sacred. The music is sacred. The nature is sacred. Everything is sacred. Human life is sacred. And when you grab hold to your African heritage, you grab hold to the fact that you are part and parcel of the universe. And therefore, when you're part and parcel of the universe, you will not want to harm nature, and you will not want to harm yourself. Jesse Jackson said it like this: I am somebody. And you've got to believe that.
All right. 800-450-7876. I'm going to give it again so people are asking about the number. It's 800-450-7876. Ramon is joining us, Pastor. He's calling from D.C. It's on line 2. Ramon, you're on with Pastor Hudson.
Good morning, everyone. I just pray that the higher powers continue to bless both of you always. I would just say that regarding the drug situation, I believe that just like Miami was built on drugs, I believe that if we organize as far as the young people and put the money that they were making and invest it, because this system is designed to steal, kill, and destroy anything that doesn't reflect what they put out as beauty and reflect whatever authority that they put out. We have to stop believing that they are our friends, and we have to understand that they are our enemies. And a lot of times we don't think that the system is our enemy.
All right. Thanks, Ramon. Let's give Pastor a chance to respond to what you just said. Pastor, you mentioned Miami. Of course, not everybody knows Miami built on the cocaine cowboys, the city of Miami. But go ahead, I'll let you respond to what Ramon just said.
I think Romaine makes a valid point with the idea that there is a friend and foe relationship in our communities when it comes to drug dealing, and we can understand certainly why that might exist. On the other hand, we've got to understand that these are our babies, and that we're going to have to take accountability of that. And the way we do that is by first building relationship. You can't go on the corners and tell people to move and they don't know who you are. But you've got to go in there. You get more done with sugar than you can with other substances. You've got to have a way of talking and building relationship. Now that certainly is not going to solve the problem with their financial woes, and I agree that we must find ways to employ them. But on the other hand, they've got to also want to help themselves. And they learn to help themselves when we instill into them the sense of who I am. And I really believe that is important. You instill that sense of who they are by building relationships and bridging the gap.
All right, folks, you can tell us 800-450. Yeah, that is an issue with the drug problem. I want to hear some solutions too, because Pastor and I are not the only ones who have solutions. We want to hear your thoughts too. We want to get your solutions on how to solve the drug problem, because it is a major problem in most of our communities. We come up on a break, and when we come back, we want to talk to you because more about what you were doing and the fact that you also ran for office. And why did you run for office? I want you to tell us that. Right now, it's 31 minutes after 6, so we'll take a break right now, right here on 1010 WOLB, 95.9, 1450 WOL, where information is power.
Partly cloudy this morning with a severe thunderstorm alert on the way. Temperatures reaching up into the high 80s throughout the region. Currently in Baltimore, we're looking at 70 degrees, and in the nation's capital, it's 72 degrees. Stay tuned for more of the Carl Nelson Show.
Good morning. Traffic sponsored by New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism. Accident reported in Northeast on Rhode Island Avenue, east of 13th Street, near 15th, closer to there, with emergency equipment arriving on the scene. New York Avenue tangled up because the traffic signals are flashing red in all directions at the circle at West Virginia Montana Avenues. We're supposed to treat that as an all-way stop. Not everybody appears to know that, so use caution. Coming through that intersection, expect delays to begin on New York Avenue not long after South Dakota Avenue. Southbound Kenilworth Avenue slows after Eastern Avenue down past East Capitol Street. Southeast is building volume on Signal Parkway at Stanton Road. Northbound I-295 a bit sluggish around the Naval Research Lab and good to and across the 11th Street Bridge and continuing onto the Southeast Southwest Freeway. Boost your mood in New Jersey. Savor sea breezes, call of adventure, or drift into the blue. Find it all at visitnj.org. I'm Robert Workman for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where information is power.
Good morning, folks. I'm Earl Kirk. Here's the latest from News1.com. Johnny Depp says he has his life back after he won his defamation trial against his ex-wife Amber Heard. Brian Shook has more. In his statement, Depp added, "The best is yet to come, and a new chapter has finally begun." Depp sued Heard for $50 million over an op-ed she wrote in the Washington Post about domestic violence. The Pirates of the Caribbean star claimed the article hurt his career and caused him to lose roles in films. A Virginia jury awarded Depp $15 million. The jury also found in favor of Heard in some parts of her countersuit against Depp, but only awarded her $2 million. I'm Brian Shook. Doctors are working to save the life of a child who was struck by a vehicle in D.C. Police say it happened just before 8 Wednesday morning along Pennsylvania Avenue. The youngster suffered critical injuries. The driver did stay at the scene. The House Committee is inviting NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and Commanders owner Dan Snyder to testify about the team's alleged hostile workplace culture. The two are being asked to appear June 22nd. The NFL says it will respond in a timely manner. A Baltimore City SRO was among 4 people accused of trying to steal 750 gallons of diesel fuel from a Millersville truck stop. Officer Xavier Harper and 3 other men will be answering charges that include felony theft. Anne Arundel County Police say surveillance video showed the quartet pumping the diesel into storage containers in the back of a U-Haul. A new study says major sports players suffer horrific online abuse. Dina Kodiak has more.
The report was released by groups including the unions representing NBA and WNBA players. The study found athletes received hundreds of abusive comments, including racist posts and threatening or violent language. It found over 1,500 abusive posts were sent from just over 1,400 different accounts on social media. I'm Dina Kodiak.
Mets shut out the Nationals 5-0 to sweep the 3-game series. I'm Earl Kirk. When you're looking for news for Black America, go to newsone.com.
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
Thank you for staying with us, folks. Carl Nelson here, along with Pastor Rodney Hudson from Baltimore City, from Ames United Methodist Church. Well, let me just remind you, coming up later today, hopefully we'll speak with Terry Freeman from this week's Executive Director of the Reginald F. Lewis Museum, and Mr. Man Mark from Anaheim is going to join us. And tomorrow's Friday, so what we do for you new listeners, when we give you a chance to free your mind, think for yourself, and join us in our Open Phone Friday show. Start again at 6 a.m. right here on 1010 WOLB and 95.9 at 1450 WOL. So I mentioned this is sort of new for most folks, for me at least. This is the second time around doing mornings at WOL, but we do middays at WOLB at one time, a show called Training Today. I've been with that for almost a year. But I got to acknowledge the fact that during the mornings, most of you know, in Baltimore at least, usually wake up to the Larry Young show. So we got to thank Larry Young for holding it down for so long. Larry Young is an icon in Baltimore City, so thank him for all the work that he's done, especially for Radio 1 and the city of Baltimore. Having said that, Pastor Hudson, you ran for office, and you know, most people think that pastors should stay in their lane. They should stay in the pulpit, leave the politics alone. What made you decide that you could probably effect better change by being an elected official?
Living in the city, in Baltimore City, in Sandtown area, I realized that there was more work to do that we were not seeing enough from my public officials, elected officials. And so after experiencing and listening and seeing and experiencing what was going on in our community, I threw my hat in the ring and said, I want to cause change. And I want to cause that change in our community. And I thought and felt that the best way to do that was to run for political office. And it was a wonderful experience. I met wonderful people. And although I did not win the election, I had an opportunity to meet some wonderful elected officials who really have a heart for Baltimore City. And I'm confident that we're going to see some great changes in the future.
Going to do it again?
I haven't decided yet. Right now, my focus is on Resurrection Sandtown.
Gotcha. Because, you mentioned change. A lot of people are resistant to change. They like the status quo. They like to keep things going in the same way. Change scares them. You know, it gives them some anxiety. They don't know what's coming on. So you're trying to change Baltimore City, starting with Sandtown. And I know you probably got some resistance. What do you tell these people that you're going to do? Because, you know, a lot of people are going to say, hey, it's not going to happen. It's not, you know, he can't do it. He can't pull it out. They're probably working against you as we speak.
Well,
so what do you say to those folks?
Well, let me tell you, we started off with a handful of people and no money. The only thing we wanted was a lot across the street, but we had hope and prayer. We only wanted one lot, and we got that lot across the street. It took us years to get it. Then there was another concrete lot that we wanted, and Van Bill was writing letters. I was writing letters. We kept cutting grass, and the owners came, and after seeing the hard work, said, we're going to give you not only that lot, but all the properties, which equates to an acre in the city. What I'm trying to say is that you can't give up, you can't quit, and those who are fighting against you and fighting against the plan and resisting the plan, we keep on pushing forward and ignore the voices. The plan, what we tell our people is simple, that we want to cause change, and we meet with grassroots organizations that are already doing the work. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to give those who are already here an opportunity to work it, who are already in dilapidated buildings, an opportunity to get in new buildings so that we can do new work. And that's what it's all about, changing it and listening to the voices that are leading you, which is the voice of that higher power of God. And we believe that hope exists when you follow that voice and ignore the naysayers who only want to see your destruction. And believe me, we've had a lot of naysayers.
Well, you always will, and whenever you're successful, you're going to have naysayers. But having said that, though, it seems like if there's an opportunity for jobs, a lot of employment, because it seems you got a lot of construction work on the table. How are you going to reach those people? Can you guarantee that the people who need the jobs the most are going to be in the front of the line?
So we're going to emphasize that we want people in our community. Baltimore City already has it on the books. We want people in our community, minorities in our community. We're not talking about going to get people from D.C. I love you, D.C. We're not talking about going to get people from Prince George's County. I love you, PG. But we want Baltimoreans to have the opportunity with these building contracts. But not only that, we want employment opportunities to court outside businesses and chains to come into Sandtown and provide opportunities for our people to earn jobs, to get jobs. They shouldn't have to take a metro all the way to PG County and all the way to Baltimore County to work. We should have jobs right in our own communities. And that's what we're going to be courting. We have 3 warehouses that can be used, that can be job opportunities and centers for people. And so that's what we're going to do. And that's what we plan to do.
And that's great. That's a great plan right there. Because once people are invested in the community, they're going to make sure that the community standards stay high. So I hope this is one of the things that you're going to stress when you employ these folks. This is your community, so you've got to help keep it up.
That's absolutely right. When people have ownership and stake in that community, they treat it differently. The truth of the matter is that we have a lot of rental properties in Sandtown and other areas where we have slumlords who are not keeping up with the properties, and the people treat the properties just like that they don't own it. But when people have ownership, I'm grateful for groups like Druid Heights Community Development Center that build affordable housing so our people can buy and own the housing. But what we want to do is build opportunities for outside employers and inside employers to have jobs. We have enough job training programs, but what happens after you finish the program? You need a job to go to. And we want to have jobs for our people to go to.
All right, and folks, who's just joining us, I guess is Pastor Rodney Hudson from Baltimore City. He's from Ames United Methodist Church. He's got plans to change Baltimore City, especially the Sandtown area. Those of you online can watch him on the Resurrection West channel. Just Google Rodney Hudson live. You can see him face to face. But I ask you about the policing, because one of the issues too, not just in Baltimore City, but in many of our urban centers, is about the policing. And you know what happened to Freddie Gray. You said that had an effect on you. What happened to Freddie Gray? What do we do with some of these rogue police officers that we have?
Well, I think having civilian accountability, civilians and part of the accountability of rogue police is very important. And we have that through the consent decree. What we need to do and what we're going to have to do is clean house. Marilyn Mosby already has a list of at least over 100 police officers that cannot be trusted. She has a list of that. And I think we need to act on those lists. We need to weed out all of the bad apples. You know, one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch because not every police officer is bad. And so what we need to do is identify those police officers and get them out.
And you mentioned a civilian review board. I think that's what they call it, as far as the police are concerned. Would you endorse? I'm not sure if it's a law or an act in Baltimore City that the people of the police on the police force should live in that area, the area that they patrol. Is that enacted in Baltimore City? If not, is this something you would endorse?
Baltimore City offers grants and so that people who are city.
Well, hold that thought right there, Pastor, because we got to take a short break. I don't want to break your rhythm. So, 6:44 right here on 1010 WOLB, 95.9 and 1450 WOL, where information is power.
Umbrella nearby, degrees and John Street, and it's 53 degrees in Washington. Stay tuned for more of the
Shopping online is simple and easy with the One VIP Visa debit card. Get cashback rewards on all purchases and double rewards when you shop with our Black-owned business partners. Hassle-free and easy, just like it should be. Go to onevip.com and get your card today. The One VIP Visa prepaid card is issued by Stride Bank, NA member FDIC, pursuant to a license from Visa USA Inc. Use of the One VIP card is subject to terms and conditions. At Minimally Invasive Vascular Center, they address your problem head on. Growing older is not the end of your sex life. Sexual dysfunction becomes more common as men age. About 40% of men experience some kind of erectile dysfunction beginning at age 40. Erectile dysfunction is commonly related to diabetes, smoking, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and poor circulation. Common symptoms include difficulty obtaining or maintaining an erection, leg pain, or leg fatigue. At the Minimally Invasive Vascular Center, there are specialists that can evaluate and treat your vascular-related erectile dysfunction. Under the leadership of Dr. Jeffrey Dormu, they are here to help with your cardiovascular needs. They are open for business and stand by their commitment to provide world-class care. Go to MIBCMD.com. That's MIBCMD.com or call 855-803-MIBC-6482 to make your appointment today. They focus on your circulation to keep you going. Get healthy so you can enjoy life, and remember, getting older does not mean the end of your sex life.
Real talk drives real change. This era calls for us to face issues like higher education, justice reform, mental health, wellness, and financial freedom. We're focusing on these topics in D.C., Atlanta, Philly, and Houston. The series starts June 26th in D.C. Get free tickets, stream it, give support, or find help. Visit change.newsone.com. Real talk drives real change. Fully charged by Chevrolet.
This is Senator Joanne C. Benson. Know why I'm supporting Delegate Brooke Learman for state control? Because she's delivered on the big things that really matter to Prince George's County. In the General Assembly, Brooke has been a leader on public school funding and a champion for making our community safer from violence and guns. I know Brooke will be a trusted voice in Annapolis and someone I can count on to be a full partner in continuing our progress here in Prince George's County.
I'm Brooke Learman. I'm running for comptroller to bring economic opportunity to more Marylanders, starting with strong public schools.
Brooke Learman, a proven leader running for Maryland comptroller, endorsed by Maryland State Education Association, our state's leading organization of teachers and educators, paid for and authorized by Brooke Learman for Maryland. Candace Dawson Reed, Treasurer. Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
And again, AMB and also Baltimore City. Thank you for joining us and waking up with us. It's 6:48 right now. It's time going out to work. Please take this video. You can download the app. Those folks who commute between Baltimore and the DMV, you take the app and you can listen to us all morning long. Tell a friend. We're on here from 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. Our guest is Pastor Rodney Hudson. He's an active pastor at Ames United Methodist Church in Baltimore City. And Pastor, before I left, my question about the policing. You told us how the Freddie Gray incident sort of changed you a little bit, but your aspect of what was going on, especially with the police, our police officers. And my question was, should it be a requirement? I'm not sure if it is in Baltimore City, so help us out on that. That the police officers who patrol the areas should live in those areas.
No, I don't believe that's a requirement. However, Baltimore City does offer grants for police officers and city government people to have home ownership in Baltimore City as an incentive to live where you work. So I would say that much.
Right, and you mentioned Freddie. I want to go back to the Freddie Gray incident again because world saw what happened to Freddie Gray or heard what happened, but you guys live in Baltimore City, so you probably are aware of the problems surrounding what happened to Freddie Gray. How did that change you though? What was it that did you know about the problem, especially the police and how they handled the arrest? Were you aware of how the Baltimore City Police do that?
Absolutely, it happened just a few blocks from my church. Where his arrest was. And what they did to Freddie Gray is what has been happening since my time here in Baltimore. And I say that even when I arrived here, how I had seen so many young people just treated inhumanely. You have people like Reverend Dwayne Simmons who fought that there be better police community, and James Williams, who is a member of the community, and Bishop Nunez and Al Hathaway, all fighting for better treatment of our residents here. Ray Kelly fighting for better treatment and better policing in our community. And what happened to Freddie Gray was a travesty. They just threw that man, and they knew that they had hurt him on that van and on that paddy wagon. But instead of taking responsibility, we saw what happened. The end result was another young man's life was taken, and no one was held accountable for it. Just like we have with Donnell Rochester, who was murdered on the streets of Baltimore City by police officers who were wielding guns, shooting inside of a moving car. This is all too often in our communities, where you can have persons who go into schools and kill young children, and they come out alive, some of them. And yet we have one person driving away in a car who was not trying to hit a police officer and is murdered and killed. So we've got to have a better approach to how we deal with Black people in our community.
Have things changed since the Freddie Gray incident?
Yes. Let me say yes. We see now that police are more engaged in knowing the public. They are becoming more sensitive to community. They're not treating you and talking to you like you are inhumane. So we have seen some positive changes, but we still have a long way to go.
You know, some people think that we should have our own officers. People look like us patrolling our communities. Will a Black officer, patrolling Sandtown, would that make a difference?
We have Black officers patrolling Sandtown. What we need are officers who will do their jobs. We need officers who will abide and respect people's civil liberties. We need officers who love people, because no matter what badge you put on, if you don't love people, your actions will speak louder than all of your words. So that's what we need. The color is not the issue, because we have Black people hurting Black people. We need people who care. And having people who look like us, that's fine, well, and good. But having people who care about us is even better.
Right, and that goes back to the earlier question we talked about solving the problem in the Black community, and then I mentioned the Pan-Africanists. They push the fact that if you know yourself, you're not going to hurt another Black person.
That's right.
You won't do it because you know yourself. That goes for whether you're a police officer, you're the mayor, or you're a drug dealer. You understand that concept. Is that something that we need to drill into our community, to our people?
We need to drill into our people, first of all, not only who you are, but a sense of where you can go. That even though you have a record, even though you dropped out of high school, even though you made some mistakes in your life, there are people who have made mistakes and got the rebound and were able to continue. So we need to have a message of hope and inspiration along with identity, because some people have messed up. And it's not the white man's fault that they messed up. They messed up because of taking their own actions. But we've got to let them know that if you change the course and the trajectory of the direction of your life, then you can have a better life to come. You get some education. Go get your GED. There's a better way than being out on the street, because you're not going to live as long as you think you are on the corners. And so we've got to, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We've got to have our churches, people in our churches, come out of the church into the community. Pastors, stop just sitting in your office thinking about your next date and get out in the community. Lend a helping hand. And that's what we need.
All right, folks, just joining us, waking up with us. It's 6:54 right now on 1010 WOLB and also 95.9 and 1450 WOL. Pastor Rodney Hudson from Ames, Jersey, Baltimore City. Of course, he's got some plans to change that city. He's working on a huge project in Sandtown. But all the problems that you see in Baltimore, they're all over the world in any urban center. You mentioned our young people. You mentioned the brothers on the corner, the young brothers on the corner. How are we going to get to those young brothers? You've got the project there, but how are we going to really get into the heads and the hearts and minds of those young people?
You got to meet them where they are. Our kids like basketball. Our kids like rap music. Our kids love to dance. And so you provide the sources that attract them. If they can play a video game all day, then why not we bring together hubs where we have video games for our young people to come to, and while they're there, we're able to impact and influence them. Why not continue to operate summer basketball leagues? Why not continue? That's where we meet them. And while we're meeting them, then we educate them on self-identity, and we give them an opportunity to recover on reading recovery. That's why we had summer camps and partnered with Baltimore City last year through Act Now and had summer camps. And we're able to impact our young people and to give them an opportunity to develop character education and to continue on that line.
All right, we come up on a break. We'll be back in 3.5 minutes, but right now it's 6:56 right here on 1010 WOL, WOL, where information is power.
Good morning, traffic sponsored by the New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism. Southbound on the Boulevard Washington Park, there's some congestion of 197. Then you get to the Beltway. So some emerging traffic coming on to the Parkway from 495, and then better from Riverdale down into Bladensburg. 50 John Hanson Highway as well. Out of Bowie, 3301 and 197 in towards 704 in the Beltway. Some sluggish traffic, though, from 410 most of the way into Northeast. Still slow on New York Avenue from South Dakota Avenue past Bladensburg Road, heading towards West Virginia and Montana Avenues, where the traffic signals have been on the fritz all morning. They are still flashing red in all directions. You're supposed to treat that as an all-way stop. Not everybody is doing that, so use extra caution through there. Past that point, you'll be fine. Southbound Kenilworth Avenue, running heavy from Eastern Avenue down towards East Capitol Street, had an accident reported on Rhode Island Avenue near 15th Street. Boost your mood in New Jersey. Savor sea breezes, the call of adventure, or drift into the blue. Find it all at visitnj.org. I'm Robert Workman, produced on 1450 AM WOL. Information is power.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. If there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around. I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Mr. Rogers says, look for the helpers. You can always find people who are helping. Thank you to all the first responders who put their lives in danger to help us, like my brothers and sisters, and mom and dad and grandpa and grandma need them.
Thank you, first responders. This is what I signed up for as a first responder. I am constantly worried about being exposed to this virus and potentially bringing it back to my home and my family. I'm going to continue going to work day in and day out and providing help to those that need it.
We look out for the helpers because they look out for us. Thank you, first responders. Thank you, first responders. Thank you, first responders. Love you. Mom.
Be safe, look after yourself, and look after one another. Thanks.
Learn how you can help first responders in your community by texting BRAVE to 24365.
It's 7 o'clock.
WOL, Washington, D.C. W240DJ, Washington. 95.9. WMMJ, HD3, Bethesda. WKYS, HD3, Washington. WPRS, HD3, Waldorf, and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com. The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management. The Carl Nelson Show. You're rocking with the most ultimate. All right, here we go.
Thank you for staying with us back in the shade after 7 o'clock here on WOLB and WOL. Our guest is Pastor Rodney Hudson. We're going to finish up with Pastor Hudson. We're going to stay in the Charm City, though. Pastor Hudson, congratulations on your project. If people want to help you, how can they reach you?
You can simply go to resurrectionsandtown.org or go to amesshalom.org, or you can just reach out through those websites. Also, you can just send me an email at resurrectionwest@gmail.com. And I want to say one more thing, that I'm a pastor of 2 churches. I pastor Ames Memorial United Methodist Church, and I pastor Metropolitan United Methodist Church. Metropolitan is 197 years old. Ames is 170 years old. And I'm a part of a cooperative parish in the United Methodist Church called Resurrection West. So I wanted to make sure I said that.
And I'm glad that you are doing something, because a lot of people, they complain, but they don't do anything. And those ones who are complaining don't do anything, but you are actually doing. You see there's a problem, and you're trying to create a solution. That's a tip for all of those folks out there who sits armchair quarterbacks, and they see the problem, they point out the problems. What are you doing? This is what this person is doing something. So I congratulate you on doing it. Don't let them deter you. Please continue doing it, because the city needs your help. Thank you, Pastor Rodney Hudson. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so very much. And we pray that God will continue to bless you in the work that you're doing through the airways.
All right. 800-450-78